Back on ESPN Bet Live, Christian McCaffrey practicing yesterday with the 49ers, reporting no pain in either of his Achilles heels and appears to be on track to return to the field Sunday as the Niners are in Tampa taking on the Bucs. At this juncture in the season without McCaffrey, San Francisco 4-4, a half game behind the Cardinals, but they are in third place in the division. However, they are plus 110. That is the shortest odds. They're the favorite to win the division, and they are odds on to make it to the playoffs. They're 0-2 in this division with losses to the Cardinals and the Rams. So it's a bit of an uphill battle. Back with Aaron and Joe. Aaron, I'll start with you. The market says this is their division to lose. Do you agree?
I do agree with that. I think they're finally going to have to turn it on. I mean, they're 4-4, and in their 4 losses, they're losing by an average of 5 points. They've been right there. Now, some of them have looked pretty bad. But at the same time, if Christian McCaffrey comes back, and he's going to obviously be have a huge role in this offense, as well as Juwan Jennings coming back as well, then I think, yeah, it's theirs to lose. I mean, since Kyle Shanahan took over in 2017, the 49ers are combined 39-22 in November, December, and January, a 63.9% win percentage that ranks third in the NFL in that span. We've also seen them come back multiple times since 2021 during the regular season, so I do think it is theirs to lose.
Arthritis doesn't go away, does it?
Like I don't have it. My body does always hurt.
Wait about a decade.
That's what I'm trying to figure out with him, right? Like he's missed the whole start to this season. He's got arthritis in both Achilles. Now he's going to play. So is the injury gone and he's going to be like healthy the rest of the way? That's one of the things to take into the cap. I would agree with you that it's theirs to lose because no one did anything about it. You had this whole window here all the way up until week 10 where every team in that division had a chance to go out there and take control, and no one wanted to do anything with it. The Rams couldn't get out of their way early in the season.
Agreed.
The Seahawks have completely fallen apart. The Cardinals are a nice story. I think that would be the bet. They're plus 125 to make the playoff. I wouldn't look at them to win the division, but plus 125 to the playoffs. Third easiest schedule the rest of the way. I think they've got some opportunities to cash in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. The strength of schedule, obviously, like everything with betting, especially futures, is obviously going to be key. Arizona does have an easy path the rest of the way compared to, 49ers in Seattle sitting in the 3rd and 4th toughest schedule. Rams are on 11th. I don't know. I can't say the Cardinals are live. I'm sorry.
But for the playoffs, I'd like to grab a top 7 spot?
Potentially, yes, of course. But I'm saying to win the division, I don't know. I think the 49ers can come back.
I see it as Arizona or LA's division to lose at this point because they have the game in hand on the Niners. Both teams have beaten San Francisco to this point in the season. And for LA, we know why they're 4-4. They weren't healthy. But Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, offensive lineman back. I think that's very fair, but Brandon Ayuk is not coming back. And we'll see if Christian McCaffrey's arthritis is something that he can play with. Arizona, I think, is even a better bet than San Francisco. Guys, we spent all August talking about how we want to fade the 49ers, and they've proven us right to this point. So if someone's going to fill in that spot, unfortunately, I think Seattle lost their opportunity. I think the door is open for the Rams or Arizona. I would much rather bet on one of those two teams. I know I'm a Ram fan, but if you want to bet on the Cardinals, I don't see no problem there than San Francisco at this point. I think San Francisco, all the football they've played over the last 5 years is starting to catch up with them mentally and physically. It's taken a toll.
Yeah. I'm still big on the under 11.5.
Yeah.
The situation's great. It's just a matter of how they stack up with everyone else. We're sitting here and it's like it's gone as bad as it could possibly go for the Niners, and no one did anything about it. And they're going to hammer Tampa Bay this weekend.
Yeah.
So then the question is, maybe if you don't like them, wait until after that takes place and then go ahead and bet against them.
All right, it's definitely an interesting division, far from over, with everyone sitting there right around 500. Still plenty of football left in the NFC West.
Look at all the jobs some of these coaches have done. Who would you vote for?
As of today, I'd say Dan Quinn in Washington. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was like Matt LaFleur because he was winning with backup quarterbacks. But what Dan Quinn has done, and if you really study tape, you have a couple takeaways. One, it is an unbelievably well-coached and prepared football team, specifically on the defensive side. And I mean, when they start games, you watch this defense almost know what the other team is trying to get into. And that, to me, says well coached. I think that the way they've played offense, you have to tip your hat to Cliff Kingsbury, but he was hired by Dan Quinn. And just the style of connected football that they're playing, the culture that he's obviously set, the expectation that he's set, I would say Dan Quinn as of now.
Commanders are good, 7-2, obviously. I wonder how good, right?
Sure.
You beat one team with a winning record, that's Arizona. I don't want to knock them for it. They don't control the schedule, but I do have to take that into account. Flip side, Philadelphia is one game behind them, but Philly is the favorite to win the division. They're really hot off the bye. They're running the ball. They're not turning it over. If you had to pick now who's winning the East, where do you go?
I get torn on this one. I really do, but I feel like I've been Washington for about a month. Now, Philly's a very different team today than they were a month ago. I have to give them credit. The first 3 weeks of the season, I did not think they were a good football team. The Georgia boys are playing great. The offense is run, play action shot, one of the most explosive in the NFL. And so, very good football team. I don't think that the momentum is going to get snatched away by Washington, though. I think that they can protect it. Their run game is phenomenal. We don't talk about it enough. Jaden has taken steps to consistently be in that MVP conversation. Marshawn Lattimore, the addition in Washington, I think ends up being a big addition as the season goes on. Awesome race. I'm taking Washington.
All right, and the Chiefs are still the Super Bowl favorites, still looking ahead, of course. What ways does DeAndre Hopkins now on this team help them?
The red zone, and really, this was a red zone offense that was 25th in the NFL before Hop got there. The 2 games since he's been there, they're 7 for 8 in the red zone. And it's really about you now have someone that can penalize a defense for paying attention to Travis Kelce. I love Hop's feel. I love that he feels and sees football intelligence-wise the same as Patrick. When he's supposed to look for it, when he's supposed to replace defenders. Patrick obviously trusts him. We saw that. That was the big question. Is he going to trust to just kind of give him those throw it up 50-50 balls? That's absolutely the case. They've got great feel as an offense now. But I think really in the red zone, because here's the thing with Kansas City's offense. It's efficiency. They want to own time of possession. That only pays off if you can score touchdowns in the red zone. They couldn't before. They can now.
Dan, we were talking about the NFC West earlier. Wild race there. The Niners still the favorite, despite technically being in 3rd place in the division. We know CMC is coming back, so how do you think Kyle Shanahan will or should integrate him, knowing the season is kind of at a point where they need to make a move?
Yeah, I think he'll use him cautiously early in games and then as a closer late in games. You know, like I don't think that you've gone throughout this whole process if you're San Francisco and been unbelievably patient to get to this point and be like, hey, let's unload the barrel and give him 30 touches in game 1. And to your point, it's a very fine line because it feels must win against Tampa this week specifically. But you can't just come out and say, hey, going to get 15 touches in the first quarter and then all of a sudden look back with regret. So I think they try to figure out the way where they can get the game into the 4th quarter and use him as a closing pitcher, essentially.
They're also getting production out of the other running backs, so like they don't need to lean on it that much.
And I think that's the beauty of their offense. As well as those guys have played, he's a different animal. You know? I think they can use him in the pass game significantly more than those other 2 as well.
They might need to with Brandon Ayuk on the shelf for the season, not quite fully healthy there. Always fun on Thursday, wrapping with Dan Orlovsky. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, guys.